I am going to be testing out patch 1.3.3 with my favorite pick in the game, Terrence Bud Crawford. I just love the jab. He has solid movement, pretty good cardio, really good durability, and he can combo punch, and he's great countering, so you could kind of pressure with him, and you can also, fight on the outside a little bit, look for your counters. But the main part of this update was the head movement. I'm going to be trying to use it a little bit, as much as I can, judging on what our opponent throws. I can't force them too much, but I'm definitely going to try. But I'm really happy that they've done this update. It's 4 updates in 5 weeks, according to them. And I'm going to read over some. It says, reworked our evasive movements to make them more viable. Players will now be able to use the dodge, slip, weave, diagonal dodges to avoid punches and counter their opponent. Block punches now cost less stamina than a missed punch, but more than a landed punch. So pretty much landing on the block or landing clean shots won't take much stamina, which I'm really happy about. Pretty sure you guys been in a scenario where you gas out your opponent, you're sniping them 70%, just landing the jab, landing good combos, timing, your shots very well, and you get gas trying to knock someone out that is already tired. That was very frustrating. That was one of the reasons why I took a long break from the game. So I can tell you that issue is pretty much fixed with that stamina tweak right there. And for the most part in this fight, this Sugar Ray threw a lot and lost a lot of stamina. So, missing punches definitely does get punished as long as you're working the body. I believe that has something to do with it. If you're not working the body, their stamina might not go down as fast. So definitely work the body. I love doing that in UFC 5 anyways, so I'm naturally gonna do that. But I'm really happy. Apparently, something that can cause desync in online matches was allowing the announcer cutscene to play before playing an online match. That would basically cause some sort of desync, but you're gonna see in this fight there is still this desync. But I am a simple person, as long as I'm able to land, people are getting punished, I could evade, gas them out, and win for skill. I can accept some flaws that are being fixed, but seeing how many times they've been updating the game just within a little over a month, shows me I should definitely get back into the game. I'm not really the greatest with the slips, the weaves, and, using my analog stick, because for the game's life cycle, since it came out on console, it has been pretty much like unusable. It's like no point in even using it at all. So now that it could be effective, it's really cool to see. I landed a couple counters like that. The guy started going to the body a little bit, but I still believe they should lower some of the input delay in the game to make the head movement smoother. Sometimes it feels like a delayed effect where you gotta super predict someone's punch, and you can't react. You can't use your reaction time. For example, UFC 5. I could see the animation coming out for the punch, and I could pull it as it's happening. You really can't do it with this game. Sometimes you're gonna have to really predict your opponent, and if you don't do that, you will, probably get hit with the punch. But this is a great step in the right direction, nonetheless. Yeah, we are back. I had a little technical difficulty. My cat was knocking something over, but we back. But yeah, sometimes power punches are still, over tracking and going through the block sometimes, but it's not as bad as it used to be for the most part, especially if they're getting tired. But in this fight, I'm not really throwing too much power. That's not really my style. I usually like to time them, you see, right there. When somebody, throws a big combo, missing some stamina, I like to throw a little power shot combo up off that. So I actually enjoyed myself. This is my very first fight coming back, so it felt pretty nice. It felt a little weird, not gonna lie, because I'm not used to input delay. UFC 5 is more instantaneous, there's no delay with it. It has its own issues as well, so no game is gonna be perfect, but I'm glad this game's gonna be in a more playable state. Is it perfect? No, but they are listening to us. I remember them getting criticized for the head movement not being fixed, and look at the next update. Head movement. they are listening. They're finally working really hard. You know, they might have been working hard the whole time. We really don't know, but seems like they're on the right track. You know, them losing most of their player count definitely woke them up. You know, so if the game's not being fixed and there's a long time with no updates, you know, you should definitely probably stop playing the game, give it a break. But I think it's on the right track. I think it's time to return, try to give it a shot. You know, I really think these developers on an actual engine that can make a great game, like an Unreal Engine, where all the like fidelity features of the game could be handled really easily, so they could focus on gameplay, like a sequel. You know, I know what you're saying. You know, like giving up on the game. I wouldn't say that. Like I think by the time they come out with a sequel, this game's gonna be in a great place if they keep going like they're going right now. You know, if they just stop randomly updating the game for 6-7 months, obviously my opinion will change. But you gotta remember, this is their first game. So, only thing that frustrated me the most was, like, the past probably handful of patches was the game was getting worse when they had such a better base for a game. That was my frustration, you know, because I was having so much fun on this game when it first came out. It has some issues, but like tracking wasn't an issue at that point in time. And even power punches was annoying, but at some point they fixed it and it was feeling really good. Then they upped the stamina again, you know. So all developers are going to go through that, trying to find the balance and that middle ground so everybody can have fun. It's a very hard ground to find, you know. Even EA is still trying to find that middle ground. Their last 2 UFC games were pretty bad and downgrades to UFC 3 and even UFC 2 in some ways. Yeah, you see, we're evading some of these punches, you know, with the slips. It's hard because now he's going down to the body a little bit more. It felt good returning. You know, having multiple combat games is really fun to have. So I'm looking forward to coming back, doing content on here, doing content in UFC 5. You know, I even heard Turkey Al Sheikh is coming out with a boxing game of his own from the makers of Street Fighter 6. So, you know, even if it's arcadey, I might get it because this is a combat gaming channel for the most part. You know, I'm gonna do some different stuff from time to time, but the main focus is definitely combat gaming, whatever that may be. Even if it's arcadey, I don't mind. I'll definitely give it a try before I knock it, but it could be a sim game. It's just nothing confirmed yet. These are just rumors. I believe even in Southpaw to get faster power punches, but we're gonna be trying to use our footwork as much as we can. Like, I like to use the jab. You gotta score with the jab. You gotta be using the jab like 70% of the time for the most part. You know, this is boxing, and these are 8-rounders. So imagine if you're struggling with your pace in an 8-rounder. Imagine when the default round is gonna be 10 to 12. I'm pretty sure ranked is gonna be like that at some point. Right now, they're just focusing on raw gameplay before they focus on ranked and the way it works. You know, I wish they would just add in like defaultly having 10-rounders or something. Look at that nasty knockdown right there. That's gonna be the thumbnail probably for the video. And I think it could be a lot better, you know, because 8 rounds in quick match, you should be able to select the rounds. UFC has that where you could do a main card and a main event. One's 3 rounds, the other one's 5 rounds. So, you know, you could pick. Now, sometimes I feel like I want to play at 10 in case I face people that throw too much. But with stamina feeling better, like this game, like how it is right now, I think I could enjoy quick match a lot more, have some fun, do content on both games, and just have variety content. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more content.